Hey, what's up, people? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing tonight? I am waiting, anticipating
Yeah,
your coming on here tonight.
come on.
Let's get started.
Come on.
Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
It's almost time.
It's about
you
that
need to be
time.
sharing. You need to be sharing because it's almost time. Come on. It's almost time. It's
It's
Sunday.
about that time. Hey, I need y'all to share while I go share.
This is what we do on Sundays. Sunday at 7. Y'all need to be sharing. Come on.
Y'all already know the deal is. Stop playing.
Come on. It's 7 o'clock. What y'all waiting on? Go and get what you gonna drink. Go and get your notes. Cause look, it's gonna be good.
I didn't go for my
I'm telling you, it's about to go down. If you missed Wednesday night, you missed it. You need to go back and watch it. Because we got what? Part 2 tonight by popular demand. So, listen. Make sure you're sharing as you're coming on. The title tonight, Women Take a Stand So the Men Will Stand Up. Come on, part. So make
Part
sure
2.
you're set. Make sure you're sharing as you come on. You guys sharing? Come on now. Make sure you're sharing. Part 2 tonight. Listen, if you missed Wednesday, go back and watch it because you're going to want to see part 1 before you see part 2. But we don't want you to miss part 2 tonight. So make sure you go back and watch part 1. Hey,
Yeah.
Jocelyn, thank you for coming on. Listen, make sure you share it and make sure you're telling us where you're watching us from. We came on a little early tonight because we want to make sure that y'all share before we get started. So make sure you're sharing. He's sharing right now like he always does. He always shares when we come on.
I
So we
see
just
the problem,
appreciate
man. I see why my music went off. But we're good. I'm good.
Yeah, we can't have music while you playing.
No,
while
I
you're sharing.
wanted to make sure that I'm sharing.
Okay. So make sure you share. Go ahead and share. We'll wait while you share because we're going to wait while he shares too. So this is part 2. If you missed Wednesday night, listen, y'all were hilarious Wednesday night. We had so much fun. We just thought we'd do it again for Sunday. So the title tonight is Women Take a Stand So the Men Will Stand Up. Listen, we got some stuff for you tonight. Hey, Nicole, our stenographer's on. Hey, Nicole. So we make sure that we are sharing as we're coming on and then tell us where you're watching us from. Because we like to see that. Make sure you're sharing and tell us where you're watching us from. And our hashtag tonight is, I don't know, what should our hashtag be?
That's a good question.
Let's see. What should our hashtag be? Hey, Tanya, thank you for watching us this Sunday night. So make sure you are sharing as you are coming out. That's what he's doing right now. Like, y'all know he take the first few minutes to share.
That's why I came on a little early.
Yeah. So we talk. This is what we do. We talk a little bit while he shares. So I don't know. What y'all think? What do y'all think our hashtag should be tonight? Like, I hadn't really thought about it. Let's see.
Share to a page. There we go.
Yeah. Make sure you share it everywhere.
No.
Okay. So listen. It's Sunday at 7. This is what we always do. We got y'all for the next. Hey, Justin, say I'm here. Justin, what's up?
Okay. Feel like I got some help tonight.
I like when Justin come on. Justin be like announcing, I'm here. What's up, Justin? So I really hadn't thought about a hashtag, honey.
No, that's okay. Hashtag, let's get it started.
Hashtag.
No, just kidding.
Do hashtag middle ground, because that's how we going to start. How about that, honey?
All right, that's all.
Hashtag middle ground. That's where we're going to start tonight. So, ladies, listen, we are doing part 2. Men, listen, we need y'all chiming in because this is going to get real raw and relevant like we always do. Every Sunday, every Wednesday, we come on trying to be real raw and relevant. We ain't really trying. We really are being real raw and relevant because
every time we come on,
that's what we do. That's who we are. We keep it real. We don't sugarcoat it. We are here to entertain you. We are here to inspire you. We are here to inform you, but we want to do it in a real raw and relevant way. We're not experts. We're just experienced, and we want to share our experience with you.
And I'm just sharing my life away.
So, hashtag middle ground. Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate it. Yes, that's going to be our hashtag for tonight. Make sure you're sharing that. So, tonight, we want to do part 2 of Women Stand Up. No, Women Take a Stand So the Men Will Stand Up. Part 2. Y'all had us cracking up Wednesday. So, we thought we would do a part 2 because y'all had some more stuff y'all want to say. So we are here to do as you all wish. We got a part 2 tonight. And as usual, make sure you chiming in with your comments because we are reading your comments. And listen, we'll bring them in. We'll start talking about what you're talking about. So listen, make sure you are sharing. Make sure you are commenting. And while he's doing
Jenny Boo!
And while he's doing let me go ahead and put a plug in, because y'all know like he does this. He's going to give away 2 books tonight. I think he gave away 5 Wednesday.
I got to send some of them still out.
Yeah. You didn't send the books out?
I ain't want to. You sleep.
You didn't send the books out?
Yeah, I sent some of them out.
Yeah. Okay, so he's going to give away. Our daughter's here tonight, so he's having a totally different conversation with our daughter. So listen, he's going to give 2 books out tonight, so y'all make sure. Okay, all right. If it's love, it'll last. He's going to give out 2 books. I'm just letting y'all know in advance. Okay. Y'all ready? We ready to get started?
Let's go.
Listen, our daughter's here tonight. Say hey, Jen, so everybody can hear you.
Hey.
All right, our daughter is here with us tonight. Yay! And we got our stenographer in, Nicole, and Justin's here. And if you're coming on for the first time, make sure you tell us where you guys are watching us from. We love to see where you guys are watching us from, and we love your comments. Yormika,
I'm still sharing.
Yormika's on.
Oh, she's going to always be on.
Yeah,
Her and Miss Beverly. Yeah, come on now.
So make sure you guys are sharing as you're coming on. We're going to bring in the IG family when we're closer to time, because you know IG will cut you off in 1 hour. So I need to make sure my IG family get all their information. So we about ready?
I'm about ready. Let's get it.
All right. So Wednesday night we were talking about women take a stand so the men will stand up. So tonight we are going to do part 2, and we got some info for you. So we ready?
We're ready as soon as they hit that share button.
Okay.
I'm not saying.
So I'm gonna go ahead and bring on the IG.
How they
family.
said that, I'm not saying nary another word until y'all share. That's that southern slang. I ain't saying nary, whatever that means.
All right,
How
IG
about
family,
now?
they're live.
Now
Honey, say
no.
hello to the IG family.
Hey, what's up, IG family? We're looking to talk to y'all tonight too, okay?
All right, so IG, Facebook, we are live. Sheltered in with the Nightins, part 2 of Women Take a Stand so the Men Will Stand up. Listen, tonight we want to talk about. Okay, these earrings are aggravating me. So we're gonna go ahead and take these off.
Not live now, come on.
I'm sorry, but they were aggravating me. Okay, so.
Oh gosh.
I know. Sorry. Okay.
Oh my. She's taking her earrings off during the live.
Yeah.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's how real we are. You know what I'm saying? Like real crazy. Okay, that's what I really
had
meant.
to. They were scratching me.
Well,
Okay,
you should have
so
known
here we
that
go.
before.
All right, so here we go. See, what you see is what you get. This is how he does. Sorry. This is where he is. All right, so part 2. Women take a stand.
Let's talk.
So the men will stand up.
Let's talk.
That's what we want.
I'm ready.
All right, so here we go. Are you through sharing?
Is
You
Trudy
ready?
on? What's up, Trudy? Where you at? Let me see.
Who's
All right.
Trudy?
Trudy Terry. What do you mean? Who's Trudy?
Oh, I didn't see her.
I didn't
see
either.
her. Yeah.
That's why I was asking what she here.
Okay. Nicole talking about leave her alone. Okay. That's right, Nicole. Thank you. If the earrings bothering me, the earrings need to come off. Here we go. So this is how we talked about this earlier. And shouts out to my sis, Lakeisha Knight and Torrance. Because I started to pick on her tonight, but I'm going to leave her alone. But anyway, all right. So listen, I want to give you guys a scenario to start with. I want you to think about this. So can y'all see those flowers back there? Can y'all see like the flowers like right here?
Yeah, we see them.
Okay, Instagram, there go the flowers like right there. Okay, so the other day I was getting ready to change the water out in the flowers because some of the flowers are looking kind of dead. And so I said, oh, let me change the water out. And some of the flowers still look like brand new, but those flowers actually are 2 weeks old.
2 weeks old.
2 weeks old.
2 weeks today, matter of fact.
2 weeks old. So I said, oh, let me change the water in the flowers.
I buy her flowers every 2 weeks.
So, okay, so.
Actually, Jennifer does it every 2 weeks. Okay, I'm telling the truth. Jennifer does it every 2 weeks.
Oh, boy.
But it's okay.
All I can do was like.
Well, in the house, so I bought them too. So it's okay. She just started doing my job, that's all.
Okay. So anyway, the closer I was getting to the flowers, I was smelling something that didn't quite smell good. Like I was like, some of them flowers don't quite smell good. But anyway, I didn't think twice about it. So I picked up the flowers and I brought them over to the sink and I was pouring the water out. Now the flowers still look good. Some of the flowers still look good. I was like, that's the smell. Flowers smelling this way. Turns out the water smelled rotten, but the flowers still look good on the outside.
Okay, where you going with this?
Yeah. The flowers looked good on the outside, but the water smelled rotten. That's because I had not put new water in to continue to nourish the flowers. So as a result, some of the flowers died, some of the flowers still survived. So I was pruning through the flowers. Here's my message for tonight. Some of y'all look good on the outside, but because relationships, life, your past, your childhood, all these things that you keep carrying around is making you rotten, smelling on the inside.
Ooh, I like that analogy.
And as a result, you're never going to be as happy in a relationship, as good as in a relationship, and I'm going to even go as powerful in a relationship as you could be.
Okay.
Because what you using, what you got on the inside is rotten, and after a while, it starts smelling.
They showing you a lot of love, because that must be a good analogy you just gave. That was really, really good. So let's keep talking. I like that.
Yeah. So listen, here's what I heard very clearly with some of you ladies and some of you men, is that when you get into a relationship nowadays, you can't seem to find your footing. You can't seem to find that happy middle ground. And here's what I also heard, is that a lot of times that happy middle ground doesn't exist because you bringing in too much baggage. You bringing in a whole bunch of rotten stuff. You bringing in a whole bunch of your past relationships, hiccups, hang-ups, and all of that.
Oh my.
So it doesn't allow you to create this masterpiece of a new floral arrangement, which would be your relationship.
Oh my.
That could possibly bloom and produce new blooms because you're so busy carrying around stinking rotten stuff.
Oh my.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to clean the water. Just like I had to clean the water when it came to those flowers, that's what we doing tonight. Tonight we're going to clean up some water. So now we can have a fresh bloom with fresh water. Now we're going to start looking good, not only on the outside, but on the inside as well.
Oh my.
You ready?
I'm ready. What are we talking about? Let's
All
go.
right, big brother LK. So here's the thing. I heard some of y'all ladies when we were doing this on Wednesday. I heard y'all loud and clear. See, some of y'all were joking and cutting up so bad. Yeah, y'all were talking about how men have trust issues. So if you missed some of our episodes in the past, you need to go back and watch some of our episodes because we talked about how fragile men's egos really are. And that's not a negative thing. I'm not saying that in a negative sense. What I'm saying it in is a sense that you will understand what we're working with when it comes to our men. Because listen, we want to be in relationships with kings. And in order to be in relationships with kings, we need to understand what the kings go through. Ladies, I'm going to come get you later on. Okay? But in the meantime, let's talk about our men and how fragile men's egos are, particularly when it comes to relationships and relationships when a man is cheated on by a woman, number one, and when a man has expectations that are not being met by a woman, number two. All right, big brother LK, you ready?
Yeah. What do I need to jump in at?
See, I can't.
Let me so let me just sort of elaborate on a couple of things, because again, and I'll say this, women and men have trust issues. Women have a lot of trust issues because of the infidelity maybe that they had in past relationships, whether it was boyfriend, husband, or whatever, that they might have cheated or whatever. And then men have trust issues from the same perspective, because, and not even though it have to be the infidelity, it could be the fact that rejection from a woman would cause a man to have trust issues. Right. She could have just came to the point of saying, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore. And that was like a real major blow of rejection to a man. Right. So now he'll walk around carrying that same thought process that I can't trust this person wholeheartedly because they may reject me like the last person. Right. And so I'm saying all that because, again, both parties, male and female, both deal with trust issues. And just like the analogy on the flowers with the dirty water, I think all of us have some dirty water inside of us that we can afford to get cleaned out.
Sure enough.
And I'm saying that because I have to admit that I was full of dirty water. And I'm still being detoxed daily And so I'm saying that it takes time. Yeah, come on now. It's just coming to me. I just have to give it to you like it's coming. And I'm sure that all of us can say that we have some areas that we need to be cleaned out in.
None of us are perfect. Yeah.
And the thing about it is we have to really understand also that with every relationship, let me just say this, with every relationship, there's going to be a bag or two that somebody is carrying.
Right.
And then there are times when other people are not just carrying a bag, they're carrying the whole closet.
They got Louis Vuitton, Coach.
And
y'all
so
got all them bags.
That's the thing that we have to also sort of look at as well, because again, a lot of people are carrying excess baggage from years gone by, from past relationships, past marriages or whatever, that they have not unloaded yet. And we're going to talk in a minute also as it relates to my sister gave us a lot of insight as to what a lot of ladies deal with. And men. So one of the main things that we're going to deal with tonight is daddy issues. We're not going to go into that yet, but that's what we're going to talk about. So don't y'all go nowhere. Hit that share button, because I'm about to talk about that in a minute now. Because I want us to become healthy and whole. And I thank all of y'all for watching. Shayla, Mango, Nicole. I thank all of y'all for coming on here now. Felicia, Sim. We got a few new people on here.
I see.
Kadena, I think that is.
And then you're coming on. Tell us where you guys
Tell us where you're watching us from. We got Frontier Airlines. My girl, Lisa Madison, on here.
Nicole,
what's up, Lisa?
Bag lady. Yes. So
I love you, girl.
So here's what happens. When we talk about trying to find this middle ground, oftentimes the middle ground is missed because people are so busy trying to protect themselves that they don't let people in. So you can be in a relationship and say, oh, he just won't meet me in the middle, or she just so busy is thinking it's all about her. Everything's always all about her. But here's the thing, until you deal with your own baggage, you're going to keep trying to protect yourself. And in protecting yourself, it doesn't allow you to be able to negotiate and navigate what that true middle ground could possibly be in that relationship.
I agree.
Does that sound about right?
Yes.
So what ends up happening, and I see this all the time, is that people build walls to protect themselves. But in building that wall to protect yourself, you're also keeping people out. So you wonder why you can't get close to people and why people won't get close to you. It's because you're so busy building this wall and staying behind this wall instead of learning how to navigate what trust looks like. Because remember, I told you a few sessions ago that trust is an inside job. You trust from the inside out. You love from the inside out. Nobody externally can make you feel good about yourself. Feeling good about yourself and self-esteem and self-love is an inside job.
Yeah.
So if you think of, and this is what I always do in my office, I have a candy jar. I have a candy jar. And oftentimes, to give the illustration so people can fully understand it, I'll empty out that candy jar and I'll hand that empty candy jar to my client and I'll say, listen, give me a piece of candy. And they'll go, I can't. And I go, why can't you give me a piece of candy? I want a piece of candy. Give me a piece of candy. And they go, I can't give you a piece of candy because there's nothing in the jar. Absolutely right. Until there's something in you, the candy jar, you can't give what you don't have. So if there's no love in you, you can't love. If there's no trust in you, you can't trust. So when we talk about trying to meet people in the middle ground has to be that safe place. That middle ground has to be that place where you say, you know what, I'm going to come to this point where I feel I can trust myself to be happy with myself enough to be able to engage in this relationship with someone else. So listen, this is not only when it comes to love relationships, okay? So parents, until you learn how to love yourself, you can't teach love to your child. And I know that sounds counterproductive, but listen, children will end up having a warped definition of what love looks like if you're not feeding them the right definition of what love is. And notice I said the word feeding.
I'm just gonna sit back tonight.
Because kids are watching you, they're going to intake whatever you give them. So if you're ingesting poison, they're going to ingest poison. If you're ingesting healthiness, they're going to ingest healthiness. So remember, your kids are always watching what you do. They're always learning. They're like little sponges. They soaking it all up, good, bad, and indifferent. So let's go back to the analogy of the flowers. If your water's rotten smelling, guess what? They finna get rotten water as well. So let's think about this. When it comes to this middle ground is what's supposed to be that safe space, not only for the person that you're in the relationship with, but your safe space as well. So if we talk about trust and if we talk about love, if I can't do that with myself, then how can I do that with you?
I don't need to say anything tonight. I'm just sitting back and listening. This is good.
No.
I'm learning a whole lot tonight.
No, we have to engage. Come on.
We're engaged. I'm really just flowing off of you tonight. That is really good analogies. I'm going to call you the queen of analogy tonight.
See, listen, I can't.
And so with what she was saying as far as that happy medium, that happy middle ground, in relationships now, it's such a struggle. It's such a challenge because most people want to be in a relationship, but at the same time, we have to really be honest with ourselves and ask ourselves, are we really clean enough on the inside to actually engage enough to be able to have that type of situation where we can at least strive for a healthier relationship? Because again, it's hard to have a healthy relationship when you're clogged up, when you're dirty, when you're not detoxed yourself. And I think that your analogy really spells it all out, because that's really a great analogy. And so a lot of times we're dealing with trust issues, matter of fact, not even really based upon a past relationship. We could be dealing with a trust issue from our childhood relationship that we thought had no bearing on us, but it really had a major impact on us. Because again, when you're dealing with somebody not being in your life, your dad not being there, or your mom, or you're in foster care, you have a trust issue because you're always going to be having the thought in your mind that they're not going to be here for me, they're not going to be here with me. And it's hard to get to that place of having full confidence, full trust, to let your guard down when you have experienced those types of issues. Now, y'all share the video, because I ain't saying nothing else till you share it.
We got to wait on?
Got to wait.
How do you trust yourself? Good question, Justin. So here's the thing. I'm glad you asked. Justin asked, well, how do you trust yourself?
Help us.
Listen, here's how you learn how to trust yourself. Number one, let's go unpack some baggage. Because I guarantee you, if you're dealing with low self-esteem, low self-image, if you're dealing with low self-worth, if you're dealing with internal trust issues, that means somewhere along the line, you trusted the wrong person. Now, is trusting the wrong person fatal? Certainly not. Because you know why? Because you're here watching.
Yes.
That's how it's not fatal. That's how I know it's not fatal, because you are here watching. So when it comes to learning how to trust yourself, we do have to go back and find out what happened in your past that caused you not to trust people. What happened? Now, listen, I'm a therapist. That's what I do. I don't necessarily stay with your past. Now, I go back to the past to try to figure out how you became the person you are today. But here's what I do. I ask you, what type of person do you want to become? Because here's the thing. Habits are created by patterns. If we begin to change the patterns, we begin to change the habits, and we begin to change behaviors. Yeah. So until you begin to change a habit and change a pattern, your behavior is going to constantly be the same. You've got to learn to trust people who are trustworthy. That's where the problem actually started. You trusted someone who ended up not being trustworthy. So now you think all people are not trustworthy. That's not the case. That person was not trustworthy. So now everybody has to bear the brunt of what one person did wrong.
Wow.
And as a result, what ends up happening is you end up staying behind the wall. And nobody gets to come in, you don't get to go out. So now life appears to be closed off to you. People appear to be selfish to you. The people appear to be non-giving to you. And it's not that. It's that you just haven't had an opportunity to find a trustworthy person and giving yourself a chance to be engaged with a trustworthy person. So what I heard Justin ask just then was, how do I determine a trustworthy person? I'm glad you asked, Justin. It depends on who you are. It depends on who you are and your experiences. So I wish I could have one blanket statement for you, but then that is generally not the case, because everybody's experience is different. But here's what I can tell you. When you get into a relationship with someone, and honey, I need you to back me up on this.
Okay, I'll try.
When you get into a relationship with someone, the best thing, and we've said this before, you have to know yourself well enough to know your wants, needs, your non-negotiables, and your wants, your needs, your expectations, and your non-negotiables. Not knowing those things for yourself will guarantee you trusting the wrong person. Do you agree with that?
Oh, wholeheartedly. It's time for me to talk a little bit now.
Go ahead.
And so when you really think about that, because even when you start saying, well, how do you trust yourself? How do you get to the point of trusting yourself? One of the things that I have learned these last 8-9 years more than ever before is that one of the main reasons why people have trust issues, it really stems from rejection from the past. Yes. I promise you, I've learned this the last 8-9 years. And the reason why I say that is because I've watched people who didn't have a dad, who didn't have somebody who they felt like should have been in their lives, or even a past relationship or whatever. Rejection really sets the tone for people not having total trust in more or less themselves, really, because we don't realize, is that you put up a wall of lack of 100% trust in somebody else because of past rejection. So a lot of times we look for rejection and it comes out in other areas of our life. So let me give you a good example of what I mean. So if somebody says something to the effect of, I don't like the way you did such and such, that automatically sends a signal that says he rejected me or she rejected me. Or it could be anything that triggers that thought of rejection. It causes us to have a lack of trust, one, in ourselves. Yes. Because we don't trust people, and it's hard to trust people when you don't trust yourself.
That's it. That's it. That's why I say trust is an inside job. Love is an inside job. And so I'll even go spiritual on you. I'm even going to go as far as to say rejection is spiritual.
Okay.
Rejection is spiritual. Let me give you an example. So when you think about it this way, and you think about this in your own situations and how you've been in your own life, okay? If a man has not dealt with his own rejection, if a man has not dealt with his own rejection, he goes and he has sex with a woman, his seed is a seed of rejection because he's not dealt with his own rejection.
What you say?
What ends up happening is his seed impregnates a woman who also has rejection issues. And now we give birth to a child who's born out of rejection. What do you think that child is going to look like come 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now? They're out of a seed of rejection. So when we look at those people, when we look at people on the surface, when we're dealing with rejection, we also have to look below the surface. How did mama deal with rejection? Particularly people who grew up in single family homes or grew up in foster care or grew up in a non-traditional, what we call non-traditional, because I mean, if you didn't grow up in a dysfunctional family, raise your hand.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let's just be truthful. So when we talk about these rejection will either cause you to feel like the world is against you, or rejection will cause you to feel like you have to go above and beyond and ingratiate yourself to get approval from other people.
That's it.
Okay, so let me say that again. Rejection will either cause you to always look at people like they don't like you, that something's wrong with you, and that you'll never be good enough for anybody. Or it will cause you to ingratiate yourself on people to where you feel like you have to get other people's approval.
Which means simply, and I can just add to that, what also that looks like is this right here. So we're always sometimes waiting for people to say, oh, you did such a great job. We want those accolades from people.
Right.
And here's the thing, when they give us a constructive observation, here comes rejection again. Again, not criticism, because I always use the word obstructive observation, not constructive criticism. Mm-hmm. There's a big difference between observation and criticism, because criticism comes from the word criticize, critic. And so a lot of times when people say criticism, they get ready to say something bad about me. When you use observation, it's a different feel. It's a little bit more palatable. So here's my point that what I'm saying as far as that, because a lot of times when you talk about ingratiate yourself, looking for people's satisfaction, that's what happens in relationships. So when a person is not always patting you on the back, when a person is not always giving you the attention, it ends up looking like, smelling like rejection.
Yes.
And you cannot allow that to go untouched. You've got to get help for your past issues of rejection. Rejection is a major, major issue for a lot of people, because they end up finding themselves looking for, as I said a little while ago, for rejection in other places. Because you can say something and like, I can't believe they said that they do this better than me. So rejection snaps in real quickly, or they get pushed over for a promotion. Somebody else got a promotion. See, I knew it. I've been all my life, I've been dealing with rejection. And you look for it, and it comes out. It exudes out in other areas of your life, in relationships, and you don't even think that's what it is, but that's really what it is.
Yep.
So you have a hard time trusting.
Yeah. You literally took the word out of my mouth. Yeah, because you've been rejected, you have a hard time trusting. So women, this is what rejection looks like for us. We internalize it. We smother. We always want to be around the man because we need his validation. That's what rejection looks like for us. We internalize it. But men, on the other hand, men, when it comes to their rejection, they're aggressive with it. So not aggressive as in physically aggressive, but they're always on ready to defend themselves. Would you say that's
no question?
True? Yeah.
Let me just talk about, when you talk about women are at a point where they like to smother. Mm-hmm. What was the other? You was talking about another phrase earlier today. Men like to. Men don't smother per se. Men's sense of wanting to be around the person all the time is jealousy. More or less a sense of jealousy, more so than. Because men are not going to intentionally try to smother a woman. Yes,
Deidre is being clingy.
Exactly. And so men have a tendency sometimes when they've been rejected to want to be a little, theirs comes out a little bit more from a jealous perspective versus a clingy / because men are just not normally clingy per se.
Right.
Now, they want to hold on to you now. Especially if you're fine. Now, if you're fine, he definitely want to hold. He don't want nobody else. No, I don't want to get started now. I'm sorry. Let's go. Keep talking.
So women, if yours looks like clinginess to control, men looks like jealousy to control. It's still a certain level of control that you're looking for. You're wanting to control and manipulate the outcome so that you don't get hurt because you're dealing with the jealousy, because you're dealing with the rejection. Does that sound about right? Okay, so here we are. We're talking about women take a stand and the men will stand up. So this is part 2. So we talked about the happy middle ground. We heard you all say that, sometimes we're in these relationships and we just can't find a happy middle ground. Well, that's because you're both dealing with baggage. You gotta lighten your load. That's what counseling does. People always ask me, what's the difference between counseling and coaching? Counseling lightens your load. We deal with baggage in counseling. Coaching helps you elevate to the next level. So if you're trying to achieve goals, if you're trying to get to the next level, that's what coaching does. Counseling, you got to get rid of the baggage so you can lighten the load before you lighten the load, which what coaching does. So when we talk about this middle ground, you got to deal with your own baggage before you can even get to that middle ground. Right. You'll never figure out what that middle ground is because it's never the same for everybody.
Yeah, and I actually use an analogy, shameless plug, in my book. I use an analogy in my book, If It's Love, It Will Last. He does. I was actually at the airport in, I think it was LaGuardia, or one of the airports, and I think it was LaGuardia in the airport. And
I'm sorry, honey. That
are
chapter
you carrying,
is check-in time. Are you carrying excess baggage? That would be chapter number 4.
Chapter 4, check-in time. Are you carrying excess baggage? So I use the analogy that we were stuck on the runway. We had already backed out from the terminal, and we were sitting on the tarmac, sitting on the runway, waiting to take off. And literally, we sat out there for a good hour and a half. They come on the radio and they say, listen, we're waiting for clearance, yada, yada, yada. They go through that. Then he comes back on 15, 20 minutes later, and they got another excuse. That's what I said. And then finally, he comes on the last time and says, hey, passengers, we got to go back to the gate. He says we got to end up moving some baggage around because the weight was not level, meaning he's saying if we take off like this, he's basically saying that we're going to end up crashing because the weight of the load of the baggage was uneven. And that's the problem in relationships. You got one person who's carrying all this baggage, and you're expecting somebody to level you out. And it's extremely hard to do because you have to realize that sometimes it's hard for one person to unpack all that baggage, and then a lot of that baggage that you're carrying, you have not even told anybody yet. So it's hard to rid yourself of that or get somebody to help you rid yourself of that because you haven't exposed that. So the point I'm making, good people, is that simple as this, that we have got to address the baggage that we may think that we have gotten past, but the truth of the matter is that it's still there.
Yeah. And so, go back and watch some of our past episodes. Lawrence talks about the baggage that he was carrying that he didn't even realize he was carrying until a few years ago.
Yes.
When he talked to his oldest brother, and then they ended up calling their sister, and they started talking about it, and all of them were on the phone bawling like babies because they didn't even realize they were carrying this baggage. And so, I'll self-disclose, when I got divorced, I internalized the failure of that marriage. What I ended up doing instead of saying the marriage failed, it was I failed. I failed in this marriage. And so that's what we as women do. We'll internalize it and make it about us. And so instead of saying the marriage failed, which it took two people in the marriage, it took both of us. The marriage didn't work. The marriage didn't last. But it wasn't that I was a bad person. And so what ended up happening is when that marriage ended, I walked around for a long time saying, golly, I made that marriage not work. I made that marriage not work. Not doing the autopsy on the relationship like I should have early on. If I had done that early on, I would have recognized that it took two of us to make the marriage work. And two of us were not working together. And so what ended up happening is that he's a good guy, I'm a good guy, a good girl, but what ended up happening is that the two of us didn't work the way we needed to work to make the marriage work. And so what ended up happening is when we divorced, I sat around going, golly, I'm a failure. I failed at being married. Well, no, that marriage failed. I'm still who I am, and I'm a better person because of it. I learned how to unpack that baggage after doing the autopsy. I looked at it and I said, listen, there were some things that I was carrying from my childhood that I didn't even know was on my back.
Right. And here's the other part I want to add to that. And I think I need to sit up now because I've been kind of quiet because she's been killing us tonight. Here's the other thing, because the question here, it says, so what if the person carrying baggage does not communicate? Since we have a lot of new people on here tonight, new as in, I think, have been watching for the first time. So listen, if you're watching tonight for the first time, just put on there first time so I'll know exactly who I'm talking to. Because I know there's some names on here I have not seen before, but that's a good thing. So here's the thing I want to talk about with this communication. And this especially is prevalent for men. And I like using this analogy because it's real. So again, what happens a lot of times is that when we are young boys, 4 or 5 years old, whatever the case may be, they tell us stuff like, "Hey, big boys don't cry." You know, more or less, scrape your knee to the white meat. Fell, busted your head open, your head bleeding like crazy, and they got the audacity to tell us, "Big boys don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, no, don't cry." And so now we're trying. And so we got to stop, got to hold it in, because now we're hurt. We've been hearing, don't cry, big boys don't cry. So now you got a guy who's grown, 40, 56 years old, mama passed, daddy passed, child passed. So now they at the funeral, got the sunglasses on, don't want a tear to come down at all, because all he remembers from his past, his childhood, is that big boys don't cry. Right. So here's the dilemma that caused this trigger of communication between men and women, for the most part, is that when you tell us not to cry, when we busted our head, when we have skinned our arm to the white meat, and you're telling us don't cry, you're telling me to do is keep my emotions inside. Right. So now I'm carrying all this baggage, and you're telling me to let this out? Right. When you told me not to cry, when you told me not to share my emotions, are you serious? Are you going to give me a safe space so I can feel like letting this out? So the question becomes, how does a person get rid of the baggage when they don't communicate? And that's the problem, is that it's going to be extremely difficult for a man, especially to communicate when all he has heard from his past is big boys don't cry. Right. Now, I wish I could say I had an answer for it, but the only thing I can say is to try to lovingly get him to share his heart, his emotions, because the truth of the matter is, he just may not. Right. And we have to understand that men communicate differently from women. So ladies, you can't expect men to communicate emotionally like we do.
simply because of what Lawrence, Big Brother LK just said, what Lawrence just said. Boys are taught early on not to communicate. So when they watch TV programs, when they listen to their music, when they're around other men, they are not taught to share those type of emotions with women because they are seen to be vulnerable and they just won't do it. So you can't expect a man to communicate with you at the same level that you're wanting because they're not taught to be emotionally in tune like women are. Does that make sense? So you still have to create this environment to where it's safe for him to share at the level that he's comfortable with. So you cannot expect him. You can't walk up to a man and say, baby, tell me how you feeling today.
That ain't going to work.
That ain't going to work. They just don't do it. Because number
not
one.
in most instances anyway.
Exactly. I was about to say that. Number one, because they've not been allowed to share their emotions like that. And number two, here's the thing. Women, you know your emotions. You got terms for your emotions. You know how to label your emotions because you have conversations with other women that allow you to share your emotions like that.
Right.
Now, men don't do that.
Exactly.
Okay? So you can't expect him to walk up and say, baby, I got to sit down and talk to you because I'm feeling some kind of way. I'm all my emotions right now. They're not going to do that.
Yeah, and it takes a while for a man to get to the point. Now, we're not saying that they can't do it because, again, in most instances, they have to be around somebody who allows them to feel like they're in a safe space to be able to communicate at that level.
Right.
Yes.
And so what ends up happening is we get these grown men who we love, and now we're upset with them because they will not communicate with us at the level that we're used to communicating with. Catch this, with your girlfriends. He's not going to do that. He's not your girlfriend. He's your man. So you've got to respect him at the place that he is. So let's go back to creating these trust issues and this middle ground that we're talking about. Trust issues come out of rejection. So you gotta figure out where is this rejection that I'm dealing from. And then, as I talked about earlier, until we deal with the baggage, which go back and watch some of our previous episodes where we talk about those relationship autopsies.
Oh yeah.
Until you figure those out, until you deal with that type of stuff, what's going to end up happening is that small bag that you got from your childhood, that little bag gonna grow up and be another bag. And as you keep going from relationship to relationship to relationship, that bag gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And that's true.
Yeah. So now we're trying to figure out, ladies, because we can be manipulative like this. Ladies, we can try to create this situation where we want to change our men. Listen, men don't change unless they want to change.
Amen.
Okay. So, you so busy trying to figure out how to manipulate a situation and change a man to be this man that you want. Listen, men only change for the women that they want to call.
Ooh, yes, Lord, yes, Lord,
okay,
yes, Lord.
I'm going to let you go and finish that.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing that and it's the same way with women. I want y'all to hear me on this. I have a title. Oh, man, I'm going to do another shameless plug. I got another chapter in my book.
Let me tell you what
it's
chapter
called,
that is, honey.
Can I Be Me?
That would be chapter number 6.
Can I be me? Let me say this now.
In the book, if it's love, it will last.
One of the things that I noticed years ago, and this I'm saying I was in my late teens, early 20s. One of the things that I noticed is that a lot of times women will try to change themselves to be with a man.
Ooh,
and at the same time, most men are not going to change themselves to be with a woman. It's either you with me or you're not. But what I've noticed is that a lot of women always change themselves to try to be with a man. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, that a woman who's very talkative, outgoing, now she's with a man, so now she's with her friend, her boyfriend or whatever, and when they see you out, they can't speak like they normally would.
Right.
And that's when I see for myself that you are changing. You are coming out of who you are to try to be with a man. And I always say to anybody, if you can't be yourself in a relationship, that might not be the right one to be in.
That's it.
Because you have to understand that God created you to be who he wanted you to be. And I'm not saying, for me, I don't care where my wife and I are. I'm a very outgoing person. If I know a person, I'm going to go over there and hug them. I'm going to speak to them. I'm not going to change because I'm with her because we have enough, trust in each other to know that, hey, this is my friend. I'm going to talk to them. Right. I'm not going because I see her because I see this one that I know, I'm going to act like, oh, how you doing? Like from a distance, oh, so you acting kind of shady now because you with your little woman. And that's how women are. Women, y'all good at that stuff. Y'all serious about that stuff. Because y'all feel like if I go and hug him, going, how you know him? Right. Listen, if he that jealous, you don't need to be with him no way. You need to be able to be yourself.
That's true.
Did I say all that?
You did.
So the point I'm making is you don't ever want to allow anyone to take you out of being who you are. If you're outgoing and you're talkative, listen, just be you and let them be okay with that. Right. Because nobody's perfect. And at the same time, I don't want nobody taking me outside of who I am. I don't. I want to be who I am. I don't want to have to change because I'm with Tracy. I don't want to. Listen, if I see my friend somewhere, I'm going to do whatever I usually do if I'm not with her.
Exactly. And so what ends up happening is, ladies, you will end up growing resentful when you have to try to change yourself to be in a man's world and you're not the one. Because you're so busy trying to change you to fit him, and he don't see you in that way.
And then when the relationship is over with, now you want to try to run back and be friends with everybody. Gone away from here. Gone. Back then, you didn't like me. But now that I'm hot, you all own me.
Oh, boy.
Let me stop. I'm sorry. So, I got to get in there at least once a night. I got to get in there once a night, Back then.
I know the people around the corner laughing.
Yeah, now you all on me. He done left you. Now you all on me now. You want me now, huh? Okay.
Now he done left you because he decided you ain't the one. Now you want to be friends again. Listen, we hope we are helping you tonight. We hope we are helping you tonight.
Share this for these last 10 minutes. We're going to take 10 more minutes. That's all I got. 10 more minutes. I ain't got much more tonight. I'm about out of gas tonight. I'm tired. But let's keep talking though.
Listen, so we want to touch a little bit on this. We want to touch a little bit on some daddy issues because that always comes up. If you don't have daddy issues, please raise your hand.
Now, what we mean by that is,
Okay. I'm about to raise.
Okay, go.
This is what I mean by daddy issues.
I'm going to look at comments while you do that.
You're going to look at comments?
Yeah.
Okay. So here's the thing. Some of us have some really, really great dads. True that. Some of us didn't have some great dads.
Okay.
True that.
Okay.
And some of us just didn't have a daddy.
Okay.
So I've heard people say, I just had a sperm donor. Okay. That's the truth of the matter. That is what it is.
You think some of them thought their uncle was their daddy?
What?
Oh, I didn't mean to. I'm sorry. What? Erase that.
What? Y'all know how some of the mamas were. Oh, that's just your uncle so and so. We ain't talking about biological uncle. We just talking about the man that. Okay. Anyway. All right. So here we go. So listen, when it comes to daddy issues,
y'all forgive me. Okay.
We just being silly tonight.
That's all.
This is how, and honey, I really need you to help me on
I'm gonna help you the best I can.
Women, we're nurturers. We're the ones who care for the children. We build the children. We do this. Men are the ones who give children their identities.
Yes, supposed to.
They're supposed to. So what ends up happening is as a child gets older, they start asking questions.
Right.
Okay? So here's what often I have to deal with at the therapeutic level.
Okay.
Is there's that missing brick in a person's life that helps to solidify who they really are because they never got that identity from their father. Now, I just heard what you said. What if we don't know our fathers? True that. There are some people who don't know their fathers. They just have no clue who they are. Here's the fault that I have with that. Until you deal with how that makes you feel, there's always going to be that missing piece to you. And so what ends up happening is you go from relationship to relationship trying to figure out how to put that piece in when that piece is not a piece that can really be gotten from someone else.
That's true.
Is that about right?
That's true. I agree.
So what ends up happening is you're going from this relationship to that relationship trying to figure out how can I put this person in this void place in my heart when really and truly it's not a place that any man can feel.
I agree. And the other part of it, if I can just elaborate on that a little bit more, is that sometimes even with women, a lot of times we're looking for a father figure in a relationship. We're looking for what we would perceive in our mind to be somebody who can take care of me, who can protect me, who can do this. And we end up trying to find a father figure, when the truth of the matter is that we don't know what a father figure is because we didn't have a father in our lives. Now, that's not to say that you didn't have anybody to help nurture you in your walk, your granddad or whoever the case may be. But I'm telling you, so a lot of times, so when we pick a man, when I say women, I'm saying when you pick a man, you're picking a man based upon some thoughts in your mind about what you want, what a man's supposed to look like, what a father's supposed to look like. So let me talk to the dads for a second, because a lot of times fathers, even men who don't come up with their fathers, and we're talking about daddy issues, men who don't come up with their dads, they always have this thought process that says, I am never going to do my kids like I was done. Right. And what ends up happening is because you focus so much on not doing your kids like you were done, this is not in all instances, you're either going to be one or the other. You're going to be a great dad, or you're going to be a dad. Well, I ain't going to say be a dad. You're going to be a person who ends up having children who come up just like you. Yeah. Just whether as a result of a divorce or whatever the case it may be, most times that relationship with your son is going to be tainted just like what yours was with your dad. Either you're not going to have one, or you're going to say to yourself, I'm going to be the best dad that I can be. And if I can just give an example of one of the people at our church, and I'm sure you don't mind me saying this, Kenny Williams didn't grow up with his dad. Now, he said he had a lot of father figures in the community and things of that nature, but what he ended up doing was being an exceptional dad because he wanted to make sure that he didn't have sons or kids. He got two boys who grew up thinking and saying some of the same things that he may have said as it relates to him coming up. So he's trying to make sure that his sons don't grow up with a daddy issue per se, because he wants to kill that generational segment of their lives that, could possibly damage them. And so because they have that great relationship with their dad, they have great identity about who they are. Because again, dads are supposed to give their identity to their children, whether it's the boy or the girl. Exactly. And so that's why we have a lot, because a woman is supposed to know how a man's supposed to treat the woman based upon the relationship with the dad. And a father and son relationship is supposed to be one that bonds and stuff as well. Right.
So here's the deal. If you ever get to see Lawrence interact with his son, it's truly amazing. Like, it is a really, really good relationship. I have a good relationship with my dad. My sisters have a good relationship with our dad. And that's because, I think it's because you intentionally decided. You were intentional. And I heard what some of you saying, what if I couldn't have a relationship with my daddy because of him and my mom? Yep, I'm going to pick on the ladies for a minute. Can I pick on the ladies for just a minute?
I can use myself on that one.
Yeah, I'm just going to pick on the ladies for a hot second. Okay? So, listen, ladies, if you want to change the trajectory of your child's life, you have to be willing to let the father have a role in the child's life. Listen, if that's what he wants. You cannot continue to be angry with the man when your relationship doesn't work with him, because it's not you that's going to end up bearing the brunt of that. It's going to be the child.
Yeah, let me just add to that, because there's a flip side of that too now, because there are times when women say, I don't want my son to be around this negativity. He's always getting high, getting drunk, smoking weed, whatever the case may be. Right. And I would say have a conversation with him, because again, I do understand that position as well, that you don't want your son in a very negative environment, especially if you're trying to raise him or her to be, a respectable person. And I think that that's what has to be looked at as well, because there are times that men are just, at a point where they don't make the best decisions. Right, they just aren't ready. And at the same time, ladies, I know some of y'all might be agreeing with me, but at the same time, I'm sure he ain't changed from when you had him. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it like that. But what I'm saying is, I'm sure there wasn't much of a difference. He was just, you just overlooked it when you were with him, basically what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. So now you want to look at him as being such a bad person. No, he's probably been the same way. He just got to be more visible when he wasn't with you. Right. His issues, you know what I'm saying. Right. Okay. Let's keep talking, because I'm about done.
So listen. This is just us, ladies. All we're trying to do is to help you take a stand so the men will stand up. This is for both of you all. We heard you loud and clear. Some of the things that you all were talking about was simply this. You got some comments you want to deal with?
Yeah, this is an interesting one.
Let's listen to some comments, because I see y'all scrolling over here.
Yeah, she said.
Acre got one. If the child suffers, who suffers?
Now, here's the thing. I like this one, and I'm trying to figure this out, though. She said, what if he had a great dad, but is not one himself?
Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, I'm going to have to marinate on that one. Now, I don't have an answer for everything, but that's very, very rare for a man to have a great dad and he's not one. So I can't speak on that unless he got a hold of some bad drugs or something. Because most times,
he's got some baggage he's dealing with.
Oh, see, I was about to say some baggage because. But here's the other thing. Now, here's the other thing. Can I just be honest and go on the record? That a lot of times, what you may consider a great dad may not be a great dad for him. Now, let me say it again. And let me tell you what I mean by that.
Because you might not know the
it just
whole
hit
story.
me. Right. Because there can be the appearance of a great dad.
Yes.
Oh, God. There can be the appearance of a great house.
Yes.
But you never know what actually took place in that house. And I'm saying that from experience. It may look like a great relationship. I had a great dad, and I'm saying great dad in the sense of he was a great provider and things of that nature. Yeah. But I can't sit here and say that my dad taught me how to do this. He sat down and taught me how to do this. He shared with me about this. I can't say that. So again, there can be the appearance of a great dad. There could be the appearance of a great dad. And it doesn't necessarily mean that he was a great dad. That's just the reality of it. I mean, we're on the outside looking in. Right. And that may not be the case. I mean, you can ask my son if I'm a great dad. He may say no. I don't know. Right. But at the same time, I may feel like I was a great dad, but that's to be, again, because it's extremely difficult. Perception. It's extremely difficult for a man to say he was raised in a house with a great dad and he's a sorry dad. I have a hard time believing that. I'm not saying it's not active, but that's a bit of a stretch for me. Right. That's not the norm. That's not the norm at all. Yeah. So there would have to be more that we have to ask questions about just to get to the bottom of what that really is. So we're about to wrap up here. We want to make sure that when we're talking about these relationships, and ladies, you're trying to figure out, how do I stand up so that how do I take a stand so that the men will stand up? Listen, I always take it back to you. What do you want for you first? Before you can go externally and try to get from other people, what is it that you want for you? What are you trying to get better at for you? Because until you deal with the you issue, you can't deal with the y'all issue and the us issue. Right. It's an inside job. You've got to take a stand not only for the relationship, but you got to take a stand with you first. Right. So when we look at creating this middle ground and we look at these trust issues and we look at this spirit of rejection and this baggage and all that stuff, listen, all this starts with you. It starts with you. So you so busy looking externally about what's going on. Here's the common denominator. And we all learned this in math. What's the common denominator? The common denominator is you. Every man that you get with can't be wrong. Every woman that you get with can be wrong. The only thing that's common in all these relationships is you. So let me just deal with the last thing that we want to talk about, because you allowed me to walk right into this. Because one of the things I also notice about life and about relationships, and I've been sort of studying people for years because I just always been interested in relationships. One of the things that I noticed for years is that, and this goes both ways, goes for male or female, is that a lot of times when men have been dealing with, well, let me start with the women first. When women have been dealing with men who may not have been the type to stand up, to be the one who would be upstanding, as you can say. Okay. They end up having this thought in their mind that all these men are going to be the same. So now, when a good man comes along, when he treats you right, when he has great conversation, all this stuff, women say stuff like, "This is too good to be true." Yep. Something's going to go wrong. Yep. I'm saying that because I experienced that myself. I was always really considered a gentleman. I mean, I literally was. I was considered a real gentleman in my day. I don't think anybody would say I was not a gentleman. I don't care who it was. I'm talking about all 199 of them. What? No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding. The point I'm making is I was always considered a gentleman. And so women would always look for something to be wrong because it's like, this is too good to be true. Right. He's nice. He dresses nice. He has great conversation. It's something wrong, no. And so now you're looking for something to go wrong, and that goes both ways because there's some men there's a man who comes along, and y'all just have that thought process. And the flip side of that is that a lot of times men, if I can just go on the record, have been dealing with women who may not have been up to par per se. And so now when he gets a woman who's the same way, who's a nice woman, got her stuff going on, now he thinks she's asking for too much.
She's confident,
she
knows
just,
what she wants.
She just want too much. No, I don't want her. Your standard's too high.
Ain't low hanging fruit. That's all.
And that's the difference. It's hard to get situated in a place where when women find a good man to come along, it's like you're gonna say something that your actions are gonna say this is too good to be true. So why you you got all them why questions now.
Right,
it's like
right.
And now you're thinking, wow, this ain't gonna work. This is too good to be true. So you run them off.
Yes.
With your actions.
That's it.
Because you haven't been used to a good man.
Or a good woman.
Or a good woman.
That's right. Because we're talking to both of y'all.
Talking to both of y'all.
So listen.
I'm tired tonight.
We appreciate y'all.
We're just gonna stay within our hour.
Sharing this hour with us. Sheltered in with the Nightings on Sunday night at 7. We appreciate y'all. So, you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
You got the two people?
Oh, go ahead.
All right. So, blowing his own horn. You're right. I appreciate that. Yep, he is blowing his own horn.
Hey, listen. Okay. There's a young lady on here. I think I've seen her on here before. Lit Life.
Yeah, she's
11. Yeah. Lit Life 11. Message me your inbox me your address so I can send you a book.
All right.
I'm doing new people tonight, so I got Lit Life XI or that's the Roman numeral 11. I do know my Roman numerals from back in the day.
Don't get it
so
twisted.
Lit Life. Let's see who.
Don't get it twisted.
Okay, don't get it twisted. I haven't seen it, but that's fine. Don't get it twisted, Jackson.
Yep.
I need both of y'all to inbox me your addresses so I can mail you a book. Signed, sealed, and delivered to you free of charge. That's right. That's right.
You get a book tonight. I told you he was going to be giving away 2 books tonight. Listen.
All right, don't get it twisted. And Lit Life 11.
Yep. So listen, we appreciate you guys sharing your Sunday night with us for an hour. This is Sheltered In with the Nightings. Join us today at 9. Listen, if you have a topic that you want us to cover, make sure that you inbox us because, listen, we ain't scared. We do it all. Cecil Daniels wants a book. Nicole, can you put the book information on the screen? Cecil Daniel wants the book information, please. All right. So, and Shayla says, thanks for the book, Doc and Pastor. You're welcome. We're welcome. I always learn a lot from you guys. Thank you, Emma. We appreciate you guys watching.
And so let me also give a quick plug to Nova Counseling and Consulting. Go on Facebook, Nova Counseling and Consulting. NOVA, Counseling. Nova means no one ventures alone, meaning you're not by yourself if you come with her now. She's going to make you work now, but it's going to be worth the work. And so Nova Counseling and Consulting, you can go to My Relationship Movement here on Facebook, My Relationship Movement. You can go to our YouTube channel, My Relationship Movement. You'll find videos from 4 or 5 years ago for those who are on for the first or second time. You can also, something else I was going to mention. But anyway, that's the platforms to make sure you follow us on Facebook. We're on every Sunday at 7, Wednesday at 9. Yes. Sunday at 7, Wednesday at 9. Sunday at 7 rather, Wednesday at 9. Yep. Y'all come on, join us. We got another great conversation this coming Wednesday night. We just love talking about relationship issues, not issues, but relationship matters. Yeah, because we want to make sure that we are bringing you some information that can help inspire you, motivate you, encourage you, all that good stuff.
Yep. And we're not experts, we're just experienced, and we want to share our experience with you. And we hope that you have fun with us when we're on. So, with that being said, enjoy your Sunday night, and we will see you guys Wednesday.
Oh, one last thing. On Saturday night at 6 o'clock, Saturday evening at 6. Saturday evening at 6, our couples ministry at the church will be having the wedding game. The wedding game is kind of like the newlywed game was years ago. You'd be asking questions. Yep. Hey, what's your husband's whatever. We got that. It's going to be live on our church page. Follow St. James Missionary Baptist Church, Baconton, Georgia. St. James Baptist Church, Baconton, Georgia. We will be live Saturday at 6. Got a band that's going to be there playing some good love music. We're going to be partying. I ain't say partying. We're going to be in the sanctuary with the wedding game. Live wedding game. We're going to give the winners a trip to Destin, Florida or somewhere like that. That's Saturday at 6 o'clock. It'll be live on my page, Lawrence Nightingale, or live on St. James' page. Y'all tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to be the host that night. I'm a comedian. Y'all ain't know that, though. I'm a serious comedian. You're going to be, man, I'm telling you, ain't nobody telling what I'm going to say or do. That's just how we roll. St. James.
Appreciate you guys. We will see you guys
see y'all Wednesday at 9.
And we will see you guys Saturday at
6.
And then we'll be back here Sunday at 7. Have a good week and stay safe.
Love y'all.